Hey guys, welcome to the Mel Carmine Show. I am your co-host here, Elisa V, and I'm joined today by Kevin Pasco, also known as the Buzzer Guy on TikTok, and you may also know him on Facebook. How you doing, Kevin?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
Doing okay. I'm doing okay. Crazy couple of weeks, huh?
Oh yeah, amazing. Uh, Totally ironic on how everything played out. I mean, God, we just did a documentary about it back when we couldn't talk about it, and now because of Charlie Kirk, everybody's talking about it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it did have a good impact, I guess, in a weird way, sad way.
Well, they say that like timing, everybody, the collective unconscious is all working together. So it seems like a coincidence, but is it really? We're all moving on that same timeline. Those of us that are awakened or trying to awaken other people. So it's actually 2 weeks ago that we launched the documentary Dear Mr. President.
Mhm.
And of course, the very next day, that was September 9th, the very next day, the 10th, was when Charlie was assassinated. So we subsequently dedicated the film to him, and for all the work he did and the message that he was trying to get out there, as far as truth and honesty. And I think we can clearly say that the project we all did was a bit of a labor of love, because we've all been connected. But um, I would love to know from you, for our listeners, like what inspired you to want to be part of this project? What was it that kind of resonated with you when we reached out and wanted you to have a voice in it?
Uh, First was honored. Um, like I said, I kind of fell into the movement in a weird way, uh, aka the buzzer guy. But yeah, it was more an honor to be doing something for the country and for my kids and we the people, because we the people are the plan. It was always said, even going back to the Discord Q's post, everything was going to come back to we the people, and the military is the only way. As far as our part of it, we were heavily censored because they didn't want the truth out there. And basically, we took all the weapons that they enacted with the Patriot Act from 9/11 on us. We flipped it on them. So, what's good for the goose is good for the gander, as I say. you
Yeah.
know, as you said, the hunters have become the hunted, and we, the hunted, have become the hunters. So, poking that bear was not a good thing. That was not the right
No.
thing to do, especially, like I said, I mean, we were doing our part, a documentary or a letter to the president, Dear Mr. President, a documentary showing how we were affected by what what the deep state were up to. And they've always been up to it. And until we eliminate the deep state like bugs in the house, they're going to keep doing what they're doing, unfortunately.
Yeah, so tell everyone a little bit about like how did you get into the movement? We all have our own story. I think many of us were souls that came here at this time, right? We were supposed to, and it's kind of funny. We always have this conversation, like so many of us have the conversation off camera, how we just feel this soul connection, with everyone in the movement. And somehow or other, ironically, we just all find each other. And, we're able to support one another, but also just get the word out more and more to try to create more lions. I don't know if you know Razor Rick, but that's an expression he uses. He's tired of waking up sheep, but he wants to help build lions. And
Yeah.
I think we're all kind of at that point now. So, how did you get involved in the movement? And then tell everyone how the censorship started affecting you.
Okay. Well, I think I was in the movement since birth because I always felt out of place, just off, or the
A
world
lot of
felt
us
off,
did.
I
Yeah.
guess. Yeah. So, and of course, throughout the years, I was always a tech head, whatever, geek, whatever, computer geek, because I grew up with all the technology as it was coming out back then. Um, Otherwise, with the platforms, I quit watching the news, I don't know, 35, 45 years ago, kind of around the same time I told the IRS to say la vie. Um, Basically, woke up to the fact that the world's a big lie. So and of course, been fighting it ever since. Years ago, like I said, with YouTube and Discord and stuff, that was when I ran across the Q stuff, and Jason Q and Kirsten W. They were like my favorites.
Yeah.
So watching them all the time, and one day Jason pops out an address, his house address, and it ended up being like 2 miles away from my great aunt's house where I stayed in Indiana when I used to work in Chicago a lot. So, and he was going to get banned. So I figured, oh, he needs a buzzer, right, for the YouTube algorithm. So I showed up at his door one day out of the blue with a buzzer. Kind of weird, but I did it. And that's how we all met, because he did Truth Tour after that. And I told him when we met, I said, I got timeshare in Vegas. It's kind of like I told Mel on their first meeting. If you guys are ever out, let me know. And a couple of weeks later, he called and said, yeah, we're on our way with Truth Tour. So I hooked up with them, met Lewis and everybody, and ended up jumping on board with 2 feet on Truth Tour 2. Basically, the driver for that, especially Truth Tour 2, was when I met everybody on Truth Tour 1, I felt this connection. I want to say quantum entanglement, definitely quantum entanglement after a month of driving around in Esther with them on Truth Tour 2. I told Karen out of the blue I was taking 35 days off work to travel around the country with some new friends. Of course, she wasn't real happy with me at first, but after she slept on it a little bit, we came to the realization it was my generation's Woodstock, but with purpose, not Woodstock with just music. We had everything on Truth Tour. And of course, from that day on, and me and Karen were in both feet and traveled the country a couple times back and forth. Did, I don't know how many other, I want to say at least 30 or 40 of the 77 Truth Tour stops.
Wow.
With Lewis. That was when I met Carol, my spirit mom. Yeah. And she was the one that invited me to be in the documentary because she thought our story was important, even though I don't have the big audiences, never really had the real big audiences. But I was kind of mid-range. I had a lot on Facebook and stuff, but the censorship and the last 5 years, I think I spent 3.5 years in Facebook jail. If you think that's fair for a platform that you use for family photos and stuff.
Right.
Otherwise, the first censorship hit aside, Facebook hit me first because I was getting blocked and put in timeout, I guess you'd say, quite often. And then we were on Twitter. It was the last day. Mr. Trump, President Trump, and Kaylee and I were texting on Twitter, and the last thing I said was, save a child, castrate a pedophile. They replied, ha ha ha, back, and then boof, we were all gone.
It was off, yeah.
It was that quick. So, I mean, anything with a third party that you got no control of, or it's not open source, you got no chance. Right? And they can click a mouse and change the price of anything. It's like the stock exchanges and the silver price. It's all manipulated.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember posting, having what I thought were benign. I mean, obviously they weren't benign posts because I believed in them so strongly. So they seemed like second nature on Facebook, and then getting put in jail. And then, I remember it was like around the 2020 election time when Twitter was sort of blowing up, if you will. Everybody was pissed and angry. And I don't know anyone who wasn't stopped at that point on Twitter. I mean, and then I didn't go back for years because then it was just like, even if you want me, I don't want you. Right.
X was out for months before I even popped on X just to even try it. And then I was really shocked because I want to say about 3 or 4 months after I re-signed up with X, all my old Twitter stuff popped back up.
Wow.
So that was really weird.
That's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, because I figured it was like the YouTube stuff, YouTube and Facebook, if they pulled it or purged, I should say, we were victims of the purge, the great purge, I would call it. But I thought those videos were, I'm sure still on a server at the Switch buildings down the street here in Vegas. But as far as us getting access to them, I figured they were gone, But now that I'm seeing like Gina Muley, she just posted a thing saying, I guess YouTube, I think it was, she's finally getting some of her videos and compensation back from one of the platforms because she filed suits against them. So
Her.
that's like step one. Step two is get all our data back and then take everything they got and divvy it up amongst all of us that they stole it from to begin with.
Yeah. Well, that's just it, like so many people, like the ones that had the wherewithal to say, you know what, I'm gonna sue, but most of us, the podcasting is a secondary thing, and we still had to pay rent and put our kids
Oh,
through school
yeah,
and
don't get
buy
me
food.
wrong.
So who has the time to start hiring lawyers, And truthfully, in retrospect, it was like everything was happening in a way, but if we all would have band together and had a class action lawsuit, things might have been different. But again, nobody's paying us to do what we do. And we had to be practical, but it'll be so tell me what you think is going to happen. It's really interesting that we entitled this video, right? The hunted turned hunters, survival strategy and reclaiming. So what do you have some thoughts about how you think this is going to kind of play out, whether it be over the next few months, next year, few years when it comes to censorship? And then I want to play the trailer for Dear Mr. President after we chat about that.
Sure. Um, as far as like getting started back to when we all got thrown off, the only thing I could do was resort to wearing it on my shirt, wearing it on my hat, and of course, as you can see, man of many hats, because
Yes.
people, you need new messages every now and then, you know?
100%.
So that was the old school analog way of putting out your own story was on a shirt or on a hat
Yeah.
or flyers back in the day.
Yeah.
Now with the platforms out there and the way things are going now, especially with Elon with the X, and now since Charlie's unfortunate assassination,
Yeah.
I think a lot of things are changing really quick on the platforms. I noticed I didn't have trouble logging on today onto the Zoom. I didn't have any glitches in the software. My computer's still a mess, but like I said, I just moved, so getting there on that.
Yeah.
Um, but as far as the platforms, I think they're going to start cracking down more on what they did in the past because he's working from day one, catching us everybody up, drip, drip, drip. But I think we're going to see a lot of stuff move a lot faster now, especially with Trennis involved, because Trennis is a badass. He's not going to pull any punches with them.
Yeah.
And
And he's
as
also
far,
in our documentary.
oh
He
yeah,
also
yeah,
came
yeah.
into our which was really, we were so honored
I
about
I
too.
told him he had to do it, so it was something he had to do, and that was before I even knew he got the new job title. So it was like
Yeah.
that was kind of Freaky Friday moment, I guess.
Yeah.
But as far as the platform stepping up, I think Trump's going to step in with governance on all of that because, like Mel was saying, we don't need to change our constitution. We just need to modify it for the technologies that have crept in on us,
Mm-hmm.
especially now with this AI stuff, because, you know, like Elon says, bad data in, bad data out. So you can only trust AI so far. And I just watched Moonfall again. So I never really trusted any of it because some of my friends mess with that.
Yeah.
And like David Adair said, the best thing and the hardest thing for AI is the stairs so it can't climb its way out of his little shed. Otherwise, it would have been out roaming around already. So, and of course, I used to do trade shows. So, 10, 20 years ago, I used to hang out and room with a lot of the tech guys from these Fortune 500 companies.
Yeah.
And you get these guys out of their cubicle once or twice a year for a trade show in Vegas and take them to the bar, get them a little drunk. And they like to talk about what's on the bench that isn't out yet. And I know for a fact they're 50 to 100 years ahead of us, just stuff I've seen, and I don't have clearance.
Right. Well, it's crazy. I don't know if you caught the forecast yesterday. It's the weekly roundtable that me and Mel, Mike Barra, Laura Eisenhower, Stewie from Stu's News joined us, Ron Partain. We have like this crowd that comes in and out. Oh, got to get you on there too. But yesterday, Mel presented the first of several where Dear Mr. President was translated into different languages, right? So
Awesome.
when I think translated, me, old school, I think, okay, it's gonna have subtitles, right? And this was not only that every single bit of spoken word was this one happened to be in Spanish, but the synchronization of people's lips to the words.
Wow.
So that's why when people say, "Oh, I saw it on TV," or "This was on the news," they can do anything today. There's
Yeah.
so many ways they can psyop us, good guys and bad guys, and I like to feel very, very optimistic that the psyops that are happening from the good guys are so that they're, trying to get rid of the deep state. And so we're getting caught in the middle and we're getting psyop too. But it's crazy, like what you can do. So
Yeah.
there's no
Well,
way I'm going to believe anything anymore,
you,
because
you,
that you see on the screen because you don't know.
you
So
want,
oh, go ahead, finish. And then I want to
I
run
was
the
going to say,
trailer.
just real quick, now a sidebar there. If you really want my honest opinion, why they let AI out in the first place
Why?
is so that way they can justify the deep fakes when the truth comes out about what they did to the kids.
Yeah.
When Frazzle Drips hits ABC and CNN, but as they said, they're not going to be able to walk the streets.
Do you think, see, I have mixed feelings. Like, do you think I don't think the videos will surface on. I mean, they've already gone
They
around
already did.
alternative,
I
right?
have them on hard drives.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, we all have seen them or heard them. I really opted not to watch, and
exactly.
you're just not the same after that.
You can't unsee what you
You
see.
can unsee. I did not want to see that. Knowing it, hearing it was the limit that I went. However, I don't think that's going to make mainstream in the way that we think of it, but it's out there if people want to see it and they opt to have the desire to go down that rabbit hole. It's there. It's not like it's hidden. But yeah, that's a good point. All right, so let's take a look. I'm gonna share my screen. I just want anyone who hasn't seen Dear Mr. President, the full documentary, the English version, now I could say that, is an hour and 28 minutes. Because of the language changes and differences, they're going to be slightly different. The timing, like I know the Spanish version was like an hour and 36 minutes. So I don't know. We're doing German and Russian, French, Chinese. I think when I say Chinese, I think it's going to be Mandarin. I think it'll be Mandarin. I don't know if I left anything out, but like we're going full force so we could really share this. So if you haven't seen it, go to dearmrpresident.net. You'll be able to, the top bar will say watch movie. It's free. I encourage everyone who hasn't seen it to see it. If you like it and it resonates with you, which I'm sure it will, have a watch party, forward it and share it with your friends, post the link on any of your platforms. This has been a labor of love. Mel conceived this idea about 7, 8 months ago, just while we were chatting, on a weekly roundtable, and then one thing led to the other, and we just put together a really wonderful grassroots production team, and then 45 different podcasters and truthers slash influencers have contributed to this. So it's been a really amazing project. So I'm gonna play let's see, this is where Elisa's technology deficiencies come into play. So
Dear Mr. President.
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 Dear Mr. President, when did freedom of speech become a crime? In the land of the free, voices are vanishing, opinions are policed, truth is under fire. They say it's about safety, I say it's about silence. Who's watching the watchmen? Who's filtering your feed? Who benefits from your silence? From the classroom to the newsroom, from Silicon Valley to Washington, D.C., who decides what you can say? Censorship.
Censorship. Censorship.
The censorship.
Censorship. It's a much bigger threat to democracy than anything that we've seen in this country in the last 4 years, in the last 40 years.
Our First Amendment is under assault, not just by big tech, but by government agencies. Voices are being silenced.
A world without censorship would mean we can freely expose the elections and, of course, child trafficking. I believe the American spirit would kick in if they had access to the real information.
We've had channels taken down from nearly every form of social media. We knew when you uttered the term fake news that you were up to something different. We're honored to contribute to this documentary on censorship.
I have only one thing to ask. I just only want to see some accountability from somebody. Just pull that pin and throw that grenade already, buddy. That's all every American wants to see, is just some accountability for the crimes against us all. Thank you, sir, and long live the Republic.
Yeah, so it's funny enough. I was a communications and film major in college, and then I went into business. And funny how you go back to where your roots were, you know, with the podcasting, and then becoming a co-producer with Carol Friesen, and yeah, so it's been fantastic, and now we just have to help this thing grow legs, you know, and get it out there. Um,
I think the momentum has really kicked in since what happened with Charlie.
yeah.
It's gotten worldwide recognition. I mean, I was really surprised. I mean, they had bigger crowds in London and other countries than here. So we got to catch up. Americans, you need to get your asses off the couch. That's the one thing keeping me going.
Yeah. Well,
Definitely.
let's talk about that. You know, like, people experienced a bit of a trauma. There's no question his assassination was a trauma. And I know there's lots of theories going on, you know, did it happen? Did it not happen? It really doesn't matter, because whatever the truth is, the facts are that he's not in the public anymore, and his presence isn't there, and his words, his energy, and his mission, right? So it's that's not there. So what do we tell people? You know, people tend to get themselves into a state of feeling depressed, and, you know, I mean, we can't stay in that state. You know what I'm saying? What's your what do you think we need to tell people in the audience? Like, what do we do now? There's all this stuff's going on. There's censorship. What's our call to action to them?
I mean, all I can do is tell you my personal experience. And of course, I had my own personal tragedy with Karen passing. It's good friends, true friends, not phonies, true friends. They help you get through it. And then also staying busy. Like I said, get your ass off the couch. I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, if I was just laying in bed, I wouldn't have made it this long.
Yeah.
No way. Just the stress of it alone probably would have killed me. The more you're up and about, it takes your mind off some of the bad stuff, because we've all had trauma. We've all had personal stuff we've gone through. And I think that's keeping busy is the main thing that's helped me. The busier I am, the less I think about it, but then the more driven I am to finish whatever I'm doing to begin with, so I can finally relax. Like where I'm at today, I finally finished moving, and today's like my first day. I don't really have to do anything except for the interview today, so it's like this is the easiest day I've had yet for months.
Oh, good.
So.
And for any of our listeners, you know, because some people may not be familiar with you, and of course, I highly encourage everybody we have on our show is an opportunity for you as our audience to meet these people, understand what they're doing and how hard they're working to, you know, for the cause of our sovereignty and freedom and the truth. So, you know, I encourage you to follow everyone we have on, and definitely follow Kevin. For those of you who don't know Kevin, he did have a tragedy, and he lost his wife, Karen. And Kevin, if there's anything you want to say about it or not say about it, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I know that's been I guess an inspiration in a sense for you to to keep going with this fight.
Yeah, she was in the fight back before Monsanto. That was her big thing because she was a retired nurse. So she used to do home care and dialysis stuff. So she was really big into the health and the food and the organic stuff before organic stickers came out, all of that. So she was a big part of that back in the 70s, 80s.
Sure.
And I'm surprised she wasn't as censored as I was. Me, I just don't have a good filter. And of course, she was my filter, so my filter's pretty much gone. I got to bite my tongue on your guys' show to keep it on YouTube. So that's my problem. I always said too much, according to her, but looking back, I never said enough.
Right.
So
Right.
otherwise, live each day in the moment, live it to the fullest, work hard, play harder. It's always funner to hurt yourself having fun than it is hurting yourself at work or unfortunately moving.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. For sure. And I think that's it. I think the other call to action really is we really have to motivate ourselves to stay in that high vibration of love and compassion and gratitude, even though so many of us have had tragic things happen, and it's just an unfortunate part of life. Some things we know maybe the reason we have those tragedies is because of what's been going on and what they've been doing to us, right? But now we all need to come closer and closer together and keep that vibration raising, because the more it does, the more they cannot control us, because
Yeah.
we're forced to be contended with when we're all together and we're not being divided over ridiculous things that they've allowed us to be divided over. Even I hear people sometimes like, the normies versus the awakened. We're all victims in some way or another, and we can't vilify those people who maybe are not quite on the same timeline or still buying into a lot of things. We can't, because that's only doing what they want us to do, and we can't do that. People will come around in their own time, and we need to just keep moving forward and rallying those people that already get it to really get that energy going even more.
Yeah. The other thing that helped me too that I forgot to mention was on Truth Tour 1 when I met everybody. Jason was talking about, the day without time, because you're supposed to be on a 13th month calendar, the missing month.
Yeah.
And none of them line up. I mean, I was born October 13th, so October, that's not 10. The deck is 10. So the months are all in the wrong spots. So they've stolen everything from us, including our time. So since Truth Tour 1, the day without time, I've been living in the day without time. The only time I worry about is like on the calendar for the days that I have to do something. Otherwise, my time's my time, and I'm in the time without time. So
it does feel like things are changing. Like, I remember, like, I was having this conversation with someone else about a week ago, how I was always like, I'd wake up and I knew what day it was and what time. And I have to tell you, for the last month, 2 months, there's a weird shift. I can't remember what day it is. I don't know what month it is. Like, I literally have to think, those things used to be like the way we know our names,
yeah.
And I just feel like I don't know where I am. And I think it's all part of this shift, because time really is an illusion, that they've tied us to and stolen from us.
I think it was 3.5, maybe 4 years ago now, was when I woke up and realized the sun changed color and position. It went from, it was all yellow when I was a kid. You draw a sun, it was a yellow crayon.
Absolutely.
Not anymore. It's pretty much white, and it's not in the same spot it used to be in. And of course, Karen dropping me off at work, she actually realized it because the sun would hit us coming through the tunnel on DI at a different spot and blind her, and she'd freak out, coming out, kind of like coming out of Monaco in the F1 race, through the tunnel. But yeah, that was when she started realizing some of this crazy shit that was coming out of my mouth was actually happening. And yeah, between that and my snow dance, I still get it wrong. Every time I do my snow dance, all I get is rain. So I keep thinking I'm starting on the wrong foot, but I want to say I switched up the last time with Dina and Jason here, but with our non-monsoon season, I told them I fessed up before they landed. We had like 2 hours together. They planned a 3-hour layover in Vegas just to see me, which is really cool. And
That is cool.
so before they landed, I was doing my snow dance out in the parking lot waiting for them. And as soon as I dropped them off to go back, that was when it started raining in
It started
Vegas that
raining.
day. Yeah. So,
Well, it was precipitation, so you know what I'm saying? You got that. I guess the temperature you couldn't go that far with the snow, but that's
well,
really cool.
like I said, I've been here in Vegas since '84, so I've kind of seen all the weather manipulation changes and stuff because we used to
Sure.
have real storms here, real thunder, real lightning, power outages and all that. We haven't had none of that in decades. It's all after they, paint the sky with the chemtrails, we'll get clouds and maybe a little bit of rain. Otherwise, I've been telling everybody for years, it rains every day in Vegas. It just never hits the ground.
Like that. Oh God.
And
Well, Kevin, I'm
the other thing about Vegas is it's a sunny place for shady people.
a sunny place for shady pit. That's very cute. I like that.
Yeah.
I love it. So, well, I'm so happy we had a chance to, chat again, and we're going to have you on the forecast. Hopefully when, we do it at 4 o'clock on Mondays Eastern time. So that'll be one. So we'll be, obviously we'll be chatting and we'll get you on. We just, it's just the energy and having different opinions, and then I like to think we have fun too. We like to
Oh,
play silly videos. We also like to, I mean, everything can't be so deep. And,
yeah.
we go down a lot of the rabbit holes and we don't all agree. I mean, we all agree in what the end result should be and will be, right?
Yeah.
But how we get there or what's happening, we all have different opinions. And I think that's great because, that's how we're supposed to, that's how we learn from one another. I was on Ron Partaine's show a couple of weeks ago, went in with a very dead set idea about something. He started telling me some stuff that I didn't know. And I was like, I think you may have converted me to that way of looking at it. And, that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to help each other see things maybe we can't see or encourage, each other to speak whatever we're feeling, whatever we see, whatever interpretations. And hopefully people that watch us are inspired to do that too. Pick up a microphone, get involved in an organization, teach your kids critical thinking. Whatever feels natural to you, but you have a really important voice out there that, we all need.
And this is coming from a guy who took zeros for oral speeches in school. I only joined choir class because I liked the girls that were in it, but I was like lip syncing the whole time.
It's so funny.
And then, of course, playing in bands and guitar and stuff, I used to have to get drunk or messed up before I'd get up on stage because I got stage fright. So,
Yeah.
and now look at me, I'm talking to millions of people on your podcast. So things change.
Absolutely.
Never expected to be doing this ever.
Well, you
I
are,
mean,
and thank you.
the funny part is that I'm usually the guy on the other side of the camera, like for Truth Tour and stuff. I was the camera guy. So more behind the scenes than in front of it. So,
Well, I'm glad you're in front of it now because we all need to get our voices out there. And thank you once again, thank you so much for being part of the documentary.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it. Anytime. I got nothing but time on my hands now. Time and unpacking.
We got to get you on the show more. That's all.
Well, that sounds like fun. I'm looking forward to it.
All right. Well, you take care, and we'll be talking soon.
Okay, you guys have a good one. Thanks again, and go see Dear Mr. President. It's free. No excuses. Email, and you don't even have to put your own email in it. You can put somebody else's email in it if you want. Just watch the movie. It's very important.
Yes, absolutely.
Especially now. And get out there. Put a shirt on. Don't be scared. We outnumber them by millions. So if you start wearing your Trump hats again, you'll see how many of us are really out there.
Absolutely.
And that'll give you more courage. Otherwise, I was the lone wolf. I was the black sheep in the bank line. I was, I've been yelled at. Who cares? I just toned it out.
We all have. And we persevered, with the nastiness, the comments, the attacks. being afraid to put a sign out, be afraid to wear a hat, we've
Mm.
watched other people who did it get, talked to nasty and
I mean,
attacked.
scream right in your face. I mean, treat you like
Awful.
they're dirt. It's like they're rabid dogs or something. They need to be put down. That or lobotomize them. I don't know. If you don't want to put them down, lobotomize them. Lobotomies used to work.
Or or just ignore them. Just walk away. The best thing you could
We're
do with
beyond that.
people like that.
We're beyond that now. We've
Yeah.
ignored them since COVID in 2020. I tried ignoring them, but I couldn't do it. When they jumped in my face, I jumped back.
Yeah.
That's just how
Well, I
I
guess my
am.
point is don't let it intimidate you.
No, you can't.
Yeah. If you
And you
need
got
to
to nip
ignore
it in
it,
the
because
butt.
so what? Be yourself.
And you got to nip it in the butt. Don't be scared. I mean, you could be in a room full of people, and all it takes is one idiot. There's always a moron in every crowd, or these, what do they call them now, cells or whatever, terrorist cells, whatever you want to call them. Just call them insane. But as soon as they jump out of line, you need to nip it in the butt. Be the one that stands up. You don't have to throw a punch. You just have to shout your words,
Yeah.
put them in their place, because everybody's going to turn their head and look. Of course, we're in the tech society now, so everybody's going to reach for their phone. They're going to video it. So you don't have to worry about missing it or worrying about what you said, because somebody's going to catch it and it'll go viral. And then you'll start your own movement, just like Charlie Kirk. And that's all it takes, Like I said, everybody started with one subscriber, and it's usually yourself, because you like your own videos when you first start. Don't kid yourself. That's how that goes.
Exactly. Well, and we all support one another, right? That's the key. We may have
Exactly.
differences, but that's really what will keep the movement going. Not, we need to be united, have a united front. That's what's always hurt, I think, our movement.
And everybody's got to understand, you can have all the feelings. God put all the feelings in us for a reason, so we can experience it for him or her or it, whatever, it doesn't matter. Whatever you believe in, I don't care. I'm not trying to be offensive. I'm just saying everybody believes in something, good, bad, right, wrong, whatever. It's all indifferent. It's whatever you feel in your heart.
Yeah.
But you were given all these feelings to feel it and experience it. And no matter good, bad, or indifferent, it's what makes you what you are today. And
Well said.
whatever path you choose to go on, I tried to do better and bigger.
Yeah.
Since this movement started. It's definitely motivated me in a good direction, I think. Of course,
Well,
half the world thinks we're crazy. Half the world thinks we're crazy, but I'd rather be crazy with good people than crazy with the loons.
Couldn't have said it better.
All right.
All right. Well, we'll see each other soon.
Okay. You guys have a good one. God bless.
We just want freedom now. We just want freedom now. Scripts of the movie